want to forbid my son from wearing his favorite jacket because it looks gay.
Helping him out. I mean, the opposite of what I just said.
Damn, John.
Like that's great.
Wow.
Why are you trying to stop his greatness?
Wow.
That's what I'm
Homophobic.
saying. That's me.
I'm a single dad to my son, Oliver, 10 male. He's with me most of the time and sees his mom every other weekend. He's an awesome kid, creative, full of energy, and he's got his own sense of style that's pretty unique. He loves bright colors, nail polish, and clothes that some people might think are more girly. This comes from Dad in Dilemma 10 on the r/OK Storytime.
He's gonna get bullied because that's
that's
hot.
hot.
That's what the kids
hot.
are doing. You're literally gonna get him bullied more.
Well,
by not letting him do that.
if I'm honest, I think Oliver might be gay. And I'm totally cool with that. I'm chill. I'm a chill dad. I've always made it clear that whoever he turns out to be, I'll support him 100%. Because of how he dresses and acts, Oliver's had a really tough time with the other kids. He got bullied so badly. Did you get him? Did you get him? Did you get him? Oh, I missed it. Did you get him when he yawned? Because of how he dresses and acts, Oliver's had a really tough time with the other kids. He got bullied so badly at his old school that it ended up pulling him out and homeschooling him. The school wasn't helpful at all, and it was heartbreaking to see him go through that. He struggled to make friends, and it killed me to see him feel so alone. Now he's starting back at school in September and he's really excited about it. But recently we were at his cousin's birthday party and Oliver wore his favorite jacket, which is bright pink, sparkly, and one he loves. Some of the other kids started picking on him saying he looked gay.
Good.
You want other kids to bully?
No. Good.
That's really messed up, John.
How did I, dude?
That's really messed up.
One freaking slip, and then I'm just gonna keep falling back into this
really
ditch, aren't I?
Messed up.
You're gonna keep just pushing me back in.
Bullying the kid for wearing a pink sweater. That's good. That is good. That's a quote from John.
No, that's incorrect. Wearing the pink sweater is good.
I stepped in, got the kids to apologize, but it ruined the day for Oliver. I'm worried about how things will go when he's back at school. I've been thinking about whether I should talk to Oliver about maybe toning it down a bit, especially when he's around new people. Not because I want him to change who he is, but because I hate seeing him get hurt and feel like an outcast. I don't want him to feel like he has to hide who he is, but I also don't want him to be picked on or excluded because of it. But then I feel like a complete a-hole for even thinking about this. I don't want him to think that I'm ashamed of him or that he has to conform to be accepted. I want him to feel free to be himself, but I'm also scared of him being hurt by others who don't get it. So would I be the a-hole if I talked to Oliver about maybe being a bit more low-key with his style? And John, I think you specifically could give really good advice on this.
Yes.
Because you had a unique sense of style growing up.
I did. I had lighter but similar situations to
I
these.
don't think lighter. I think extremely odd in a beautiful, amazing way.
Yes.
But I
would wear a tie all the time.
You wear a full suit. Come on, don't downplay
a full suit. And guys, I grew up in Florida. I didn't grow up in California where everyone can just do what they want and, do all these things. Yeah. So I was in these scenarios myself. And I don't know. For me, it was just kind of like going through it, and it was like a big part of my personality and my like personal identity and like finding myself and like all of those things ultimately. So for me, it was actually kind of a good thing of like I held my ground and pushed through, and that was almost is like you're like defiant, right? Actually, one of the guys who would like say stuff or just like he was just like weird.
What was it? The guy that would like say like fry something or
no.
What did the guy say?
I'm trying to think what you're talking about.
Fries in the bag.
No, it was something like where like he was making fun of you and you thought it was a compliment. I forget it.
There used to be a game when I was a kid and they called me a French fry or something and I tagged them they were a nut or something, but that's separate.
Oh,
that was like kindergarten. That was separate. That was like kindergarten.
Okay.
But yeah, for me, that's what it was. And I think with the dad, like, I mean, unless I have to imagine he knows that if he stopped doing it, that, maybe some of the attention would deflect or that, the jacket is the item that they're fixating on. So it's like, I don't know.
I think there's a way to give like an age appropriate answer where it's like, hey, like you have an amazing, unique sense of style. And when you are unique, people are going to pick on you because you're different and like special, and a lot of kids won't understand how good and amazing that can be until much later in life. You've learned to like show who you are really early, and the consequence of doing that is you're probably going to get bullied. That shouldn't stop you from being who you are. And in fact, if you can still wear that sweater knowing that you might be bullied because of it, that is a show of how strong you are and how proud, and also like how proud I would be for you to represent who you are in the face of people making fun of you. But just know like because you're expressing yourself, this is something that might happen, but never stop doing it.
I mean, dude, no notes. I couldn't have. Sam is speaking as eloquently as I am speaking terribly in this episode. I love it. Yeah, that is literally perfect.
Yeah, and I think it's like important to say what, like, you know, like hey, this is like might be what's happening, but say it in a way that is like not stamping on the ways that he is expressing identity.
It's fully you like still communicate the message of like, yeah, you could continue to get bullied because of this, but it is fully framed in the pushing and motivation of him to be who he is and never apologize for that.
Yeah, and I think like that's the tough thing about being in middle school, especially in the school system, that is really like the school system is, it's like, I mean, it's in antiquity. It's like remnant of the factory system of like the 1800s, where we're trying to produce like workers that will be on time and do a job and know all the right information. And so it's like it doesn't really stack up to what you need to be successful in like the modern era. And so like, yes, being a cog in the machine back then was really valued and important to have any sort of stability, but now it's kind of the opposite. And so like to let your freak flag fly is, I think, more beneficial now than it ever has been. And I think that should be encouraged.
Start a podcast in middle school and then expose them.
Dude, honestly, for real.
Drop out of school in middle school and just start a podcast.
All the weird shit I do in middle school is cool now. Like being a YouTuber was weird as when I was like 12. Everyone made fun of me for having a YouTube channel. But now it's cool.
But who's laughing now? Oh, where's your amazing community, people?
Oh, nowhere.
They don't exist.
Yeah.
And you suck.
But we still got more of the story.
Oh, let's go.
We got some updates from OP, but we got some comments from the people. So don't do it. Kids will still bully him, and all he will remember is that you deterred him from expressing himself. Trust me, the same thing occurred in our house. I was trying to keep him from being bullied, but my child felt as though I didn't accept him and that he needed to pretend he was something he wasn't. Lots of later life therapy. If he's gay, if he's straight, let him be himself and tell him as long as he likes his clothes, that's all that matters. Sincerely, the mom of an amazing queer kid.
Real world example.
And then OP responds, I get that, but at the same time, it's so heartbreaking seeing the same thing happen over and over and over again. Commenter, Jesus, where do you live? Most kids don't care about this kind of thing these days. OP says, I live in West Midlands of England. I honestly don't think your point about most kids not caring is at all accurate. I see it every day. I think most kids are more accepting, but like
it's generally more accepting. But I feel like to OP's point, like, does that commenter have a kid in school the same age as OP? Like, I feel like you really know if you're like a parent of those kids who has some insight into that.
Exactly. Yeah. Commenter, do not dull his shine because other people don't understand him. I understand it may be coming from a place of protection, but it needs to be addressed with the potential aggressors, not with forcing your son to change who he is. I actually agree with what OP is going to say here a little bit, but when you can't do anything more with potential aggressors, I have done and will continue to do everything I can, but sadly, I can't literally watch his back 24/7. And even though I would if I could, anytime he has made a comment, it breaks his little heart, and it is so devastating to see him go through that again. I actually agree with OP. Like, yes, try to hold these kids accountable, but I think it's actually more important creating or helping your own kid become more resilient rather than policing other children, because you're not going to be able to control every person in this kid's environment when they grow up. And so it's more important to like create like these kids that are anti-fragile and super secure than trying to create an environment that is absent of like assailants and just
yeah,
like
it's like solving that's a band-aid when you could like have like a long-term solution in place
Yeah.
by building up a self-confidence and
exactly
whatnot.
like the building up of the self-confidence I think is way more important. But we got an update. So it's been 26 days since my original post, and I thought I'd give an update now that Oliver has had his first week back at school. I can happily say that so far, things are going much better than I'd hoped. Oliver and I had a really important heart-to-heart. I sat him down and told him how incredibly proud I am of the person he is becoming. I made sure he knew there's absolutely nothing he could ever do that would change the way I see him or make me love him any less. Honestly, it was a bit emotional, and I even got a bit choked up. I told him if wearing his favorite jacket, the one that's caused some hurt before, made him happy, I'd stand behind him 100%. But I also wanted to make sure he was prepared. I explained that while I'll always be there for him, I can't always be around to protect him, and he might have to stand up for himself if kids make fun of him. I made it clear that this doesn't mean he should change anything about who he is, but that he needs to be ready to handle it if anyone says anything cruel. Oliver understood, and we spent the summer coming up with some playful comebacks together. He really wanted to take the jacket with him to school, so we made it a bit of a project, imagining the kind of things kids might say and crafting witty replies that he could fire back. It was actually pretty fun, and I think it helped him be more confident about it. Now, back to school. His new teacher knows all about his past struggles with bullying, and she's been amazing. She's keeping a close eye on things and making sure he feels safe and comfortable. It's made such a difference already, and Oliver's first week couldn't have gone better. He's even made a new friend, a boy named Sam, and they've really hit it off. They're planning to meet up tomorrow at the Wacky Warehouse, and Oliver can't stop talking about it. It's been a long time since I've seen him excited about spending time with someone his age. I know it's early days, but seeing him come home happy and smiling each day has been such a relief. Thanks to everyone who gave advice and encouragement on my original post. I really took a lot of it to heart, and I think it made a big difference in how I approach this. And there is an update September 9th, 2024, 2 days later. So I just want to hop on and give a small update about Oliver's play date over the weekend. Firstly, when Oliver was getting ready, he wanted to wear all of his flamboyant clothes. He asked me if I thought it was a good idea. His friend had seen him in his jacket, but he was a little worried how he would react to the full Oliver. I told him to wear whatever he wanted, and that if this was his friend and a friend worth being friends with, they would accept him for exactly how he is. This made Oliver smile. He wore his full Oliver outfit. When we were walking in, I could feel Oliver getting a bit nervous. He was bullied so much in his last school for how he was, so I understand why. I held his hand tight, gave it 2 squeezes. This means I love you, something I learned to teach him from Reddit already. The friend's dad was with him, and he looked at Oliver and gave a little curious look, but apart from that, it was fine. The boy said he loved Oliver's clothes. They spent about 4 hours playing, and we ended up eating together. On the way home, I told Oliver how proud I am of the little man he is. I am so proud how he is so willing to be himself and so brave to continue despite any backlash he gets. I love him so much. Yeah, I think honestly, like a true test of how brave someone was, like, you know, if your identity gets you, it's kind of like that much more metal to be yourself in the face of that.
100%.
And I feel like Oliver is experiencing a little bit of that.
100%.
This is my final update on this account. I don't know if I'll ever show you these posts. Oliver, maybe in a few years when you're older, so we can have a laugh about how worried I was about you. Your dad is so proud of you. I think you are the most amazing person in the whole world, even when you drive me absolutely nuts. I'm so lucky to get to be your father. I am so lucky you are in my life. I love you, and we love you. And if you want to join us every weekday at 3 p.m. PST, join our live right here on YouTube. But that's where the story ends.
I love this story.
So cute.
While Sam's speech was actually a lot better, I believe, he did still end up having the same effect, and basically like the way that the kid was able to like internalize that, build that into self-confidence, and then go out into the world with it and like look at the results. Now he has someone, he's like, oh, this is a true friend who is a real friend for me fully.
Yeah, and I think that's what you really want in these situations. You don't want to conform to be a certain person and get friends that don't actually see who you are. Like we talked about this like a couple months ago on the show, but we were talking about this idea of a connection decoy, where like a lot of people will put this version of themselves that they think people will like, and then all these people or these friends try to connect with this person that they're projecting, but it's not actually the real them. And so they don't feel that connection. They don't feel that friendship because they're putting a decoy out. And so if you want people to actually like love you, then you have to be yourself, because then you'll never actually feel that connection and love.
100%. Great. This has got to end up in whatever parenting thing that happens. This is great. This was super solid.
Yeah. I love that. I'm glad that it ended in a way that made Oliver reaffirm his identity instead of stamp it out.
Okay, Dad.
Okay, Daddy.
Okay, Daddy. What happened?
Josephine.
Uh-oh, the lore continues. My mom crashed my boyfriend and I's date after I explicitly told her not to.
Room for three.
Threesome? So, me, 25 female, and my boyfriend, 30 male, had a nice dinner planned for us both after I have been gone to Greece with my mom on a vacation for 8 days. My mom and I had the best time and had a lot of fun and deep conversations, and I told her that I was going to get dinner with my boyfriend of almost 6 years today after the vacation to talk about the vacation and tell him and show him everything. By the way, this comes from OK Celebration 2337 from r/OK Storytime subreddit. Let's go. My mom then subtly inclined that she would also love to be there to talk about the vacation with us, where I politely declined and told her that after 8 days of not seeing my boyfriend, I would love to have a dinner with him alone to catch up after everything because I missed him very much, and that I would love to catch up with the four of us, my dad included, next week or so. How dare you think you can have your own time? Unacceptable. The vacation then went on and we arrived back 2 days ago. Everything was fine until about 5 hours ago. I was looking forward to this evening and was preparing everything to show my boyfriend, and I was excited as we pull up to the restaurant in the car. Then I see my parents' car is also parked there.
What?
I then pointed it out to my boyfriend, who thought not much of it, and I also thought that was because we were going to dinner. My mom must have been jealous and chose to also go to another restaurant in the neighborhood or in the same diner, but still respect boundaries and ask for another table.
Huh.
I mean, that alone is a red flag alert. Because she's like, like my mom was probably just jealous, so she was like trying to like maybe she's like going to the same restaurant, just like, you know.
Dude, your mom sounds like she is a lot.
Well, we then walked over to check in where they have papers with our names on them, and I quickly checked to see her name was above mine. My heart instantly sank as I just wanted a quiet evening with my partner talking about the fun we had. So I was a bit disappointed and also frustrated that my mom did not respect my boundaries. When the Uber led us to the table, Aubert? When the waiter? You know what an Aubert is?
An Uber? No.
When the waiter led us to our table, I saw my mom and dad smirking. While walking to the table, I blurted out, I do not like this. I don't like this at all, in Dutch, which honestly could have been more tactful than this, but I also was too high in emotion. My mom then stood while I was sitting down and said angrily that if I did not like it, she would leave, and stormed off while I said to her to sit back down so we could talk about it. Yeah,
what if the boyfriend is going to propose and it's in front of the parents?
Then the mom, so like the boyfriend told like, hey, parents, be here, right? Because this is what I'm going to do. Then they would have to figure out some sort of plan, because the mom would have been like, yo, daughter just told me not to be there, so that you guys have your own thing. So that was not, and then she storms off. So not good.
So yeah, but maybe it's all a ruse. Maybe
it could be a
elaborate ruse.
It could be a ruse. We have had some good endings on this episode today. So she then stormed off to the car while my dad stayed seated and also called after her. He then said to me that I know how my mom is and that it will be okay, but that he is going to follow her now, leaving my boyfriend and me stunned. I understand that my mom wanted to surprise me and to talk about the vacation together, but she did not respect my boundaries and went to do this without communicating with me or my boyfriend that she wanted to come. But I did hurt her feelings by reacting this way. She also does not want to talk about me at the moment and ignores my calls and messages. Meanwhile, my dad said to give her a few days and then I know how my mom behaves and to try to talk it out later. So am I the a-hole? We have an edit coming up, but I don't like it.
I don't like it one bit.
Like she just said, oh, what is this? I don't like this, because they had already had a conversation where she said politely like, hey, please don't come. Like I want to have time together. And OP walks up to the table, says that, and then she storms off and doesn't talk to her for days.
Yeah. It sounds like mom is getting, she thinks she's the center of the world right now.
Yeah.
And also it seems a little suffocating.
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess they had a good 8-day vacation, and OP, I'm sure OP would have voiced it.
But yeah, it's like, oh, like we have an 8-day vacation where we're spending all this time together, and you can't give me like one moment away with my boyfriend.
Yes, it's a very, very not just reasonable request, but it's like a reasonable boundary. Like OP said, like, hey, I just want to have this time with my boyfriend. That's going to be a nice thing for me that I want.
Super reasonable. Super reasonable.
Super reasonable. But ladies and gentlemen,
yeah, John,
we
it's
have
201.
Why does my age keep going? What's happening? What's happening? Jonas 201 says, my mom thinks she's the main character.
That says John.
What?
It says John.
Doesn't have an H, so it doesn't count.
John is 201. It seems like it counts to me.
No, it's Jonas 201.
John.
Jonas 201.
I don't know.
Have you ever heard of this little group called the Jonas Brothers?
But that has
Spelled
an E
different, but I
on
don't
it.
It's
care.
spelled very differently.
But I don't. Well, let's get into this edit. The reason that I didn't turn away immediately when seeing the car / spotting the name is because I did not think my mom would really intrude, and maybe a bit naive, but I hoped that we could talk about it. As I said, my emotions also got the better of me when I saw that she was there, and that's when I blurted out. I also have anxiety with situations with conflicts and did not want to put the waiters in a position where they had to deal with it the moment that I saw her name. Plus, it all happened pretty fast when you're in a situation. I also did not just go sit somewhere else because I'm 100% sure my mom would have trampled the whole restaurant to find me. Oh my gosh. I also did not just leave last moment when we spotted the car because I'm 100% sure that she would have been even angrier with me that way. Yeah, I'm sensing a behavior, a pattern of behavior where it's like, hey, I know that my mom will react negatively with me like leaving before I even go in, probably because of past experiences. I mean, what else would it be based off of? And I also wanted my evening not to be ruined, and at that moment calculated that this would be the best option. But man, I'm bad at math. Me too. I feel you. I also want to state that my mom is not a bad person. She has her own issues and insecurities that make her act like this. That of course is not an excuse.
I mean, she's very insecure.
I mean,
very
dude,
insecure. I mean, we're
kind of
seeing it
insane.
firsthand.
Yeah, this is pretty bad.
Bad.
But it makes it more understandable, but equally difficult as I can empathize with her being hurt in the situation, and that makes it difficult for me to let it go. I am in therapy and making my own progress on this topic as we speak. We do have an update where OP's mom finally responds. The radio silence ends.
Oh, wow.
But
I wonder if
responds?
the mom responds, which
mom
I wonder
responds.
if it'll be a tempered and very mature response.
It's going to be so even keel.
I'm sure.
So empathetic to OP.
So mature, like 200 years of maturity.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially 201.
You know,
As mature as you are.
Listen, when you look
in
this
years
good at
old,
200,
you know,
you don't need to
can't
go to the
say
Bahamas
nothing.
to
You
get
don't.
gene therapy.
It's
You don't
true.
need it. You don't
It's
need
true.
it. But yeah, how should OP now, so that we're like, I think like 4 or 5 days out with literally no communication from mom, what would be your move to address mama here?
My move, I think I would not establish contact until she establishes contact. Like,
Just
I don't know.
wait for her to get back.
Just wait. I mean, maybe just like at the very least, be like, hey, when you're ready to talk,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Little primer.
Yeah, you don't. I don't think you need to make like, because you didn't do anything wrong,
No.
really. You just said
like OP very clearly communicated, hey, I would like to, have this dinner with my boyfriend alone, and then she showed up.
yeah,
Then
exactly.
she got upset.
Yeah,
Which is understandable.
Yeah, I think OP needs to maybe just not needs to, could say a little something, but I think just wait.
I think it would be good just to be like, hey, I am ready to talk, but when I'll be here when you reach out to me, and then leave it, because it's just going to be more emotionally painful probably every single time she reaches out, or maybe she lashes out or whatever. So
Agreed.
I totally agree. So let's get into this update. My mom responded to my text saying she has no need to talk. Then shut up then. And that because I was so unhappy to see them, she does not know how to react to my previous texts, which states my feelings in a short apology for responding with my blurt out. I responded that I will not fight this over WhatsApp, and that when she is ready to talk like an adult, she's more than welcome to. And I think that would be no problem because we had quite the bonding on the vacation, so this will also be no problem. I am just waiting now for my mom to make the move and to let me know when she's ready to talk about it. By the way, you can always talk to us, but only if you join our live streams at 3 p.m. PST every single weekday.
Join.
We can't respond in real time. I can't take a video that's a file that's done and change it. No, it's done. It's over. So join the live. But before we dive into these final relevant comments, yeah, it seems like OP's basically taken our advice here and is not
Which
going
is
to
good.
respond.
Which is good.
Which is good. Yeah, mom is like, something seems like very wrong.
I mean, I wonder why. I want an explanation.
Yeah. I don't know. It's very confusing. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get into these relevant comments. Lawyer Dad 1981 says, not the a-hole. I think the more fun solution, though, would be to have called the restaurant as soon as you notice the car, canceled the reservation, and gone somewhere else without saying a peep about it. Not that this justifies it, but OP kind of mentioned before, like, oh, if I like just sat at another table, for instance, that would make my mom even angrier and make her storm around. It was actually kind of good, I think, and I'm curious on your opinion on this, that she went up and expressed that she didn't like that, you know, in a way, because then it's like, hey, like, it's kind of the punishment for the crime of, I told you my boundary, you violated that boundary, and I came up and, I mean, all the OP said was like, I don't like this at all. Like, it was said in a more like aggressive, quote unquote, manner, but it's like, honestly, that message, I feel like, yeah, I don't like this. Like, why are you doing this right now?
Yeah, I think because OP made the boundary beforehand, that's why it's not good. If she didn't make the boundary, then she wouldn't be able to do that.
Yes. Like, she could pull her aside and maybe at that moment establish a boundary. But yeah, because she established a boundary, I think that OP is
in the clear.
In the clear. OK Celebration 2437 OP responds, that was my initial reaction to, but I still had the hopes that it was not true, as I just didn't see my mom behaving like this because we really connected on our vacation. Yeah, maybe it was a case of like, I mean, it's also, one could argue, easier to connect. Like, a vacation is the quote unquote perfect environment. You know, you're like,
no responsibilities.
You're hanging out. You're just having fun, doing whatever. So, but now that like real life has returned, and it's not just the two of you too. Like, there's other people in the dynamic. Like, she has to tend her boyfriend, and there's the dad, and like, I don't know, everyone else. So. Yeah, I think ultimately this ended, I think, as best as it could. Like, OP did, I think, all the right things. She set the boundary, let her know when she disrupted that, and then told her, like, hey, I'm ready to talk when you are. The communication was more, maybe a little more aggressive and petty than it needed to be. But ultimately, the core message, I think, was still communicated in every situation.
Agreed.
Which is ultimately.
But is there more to that story?
There's literally absolutely nothing left.
That's it.
Over.
But we got another one, or is that the last one?
We have
one more story.
A whole more story that
Can I quickly dunk? Wait, you're going to go get food?
I am, but talk to me.
I want to dunk my head in the ice bath because I am so tired.
Yeah, go for that dunk, big boy.
Do you want me to just entertain him?
I can talk with the people.
It'll be like literally less than 2 minutes.
I'll talk with the people. We could talk. Chat! What's going on? Oh, by the way, let's read some donos first. Get those covered. Is that just that one? My mind with AWOL 2006 says, thanks for the $5. Yo, I'll be 50 in January. Shout out to the elders. The elders. Can that be the faction of our community? I feel like that's like a fun name.
Oh, the elders? Yeah, we can do that.
Elders.
If they're cool with it.
Elders, yeah.
If you're cool with it.
Let me know in chat if you're cool with being called the elders.
Are you cool with that?
Because I think it's a pretty cool name.
I bet you do.
Yep. But shout out again. My mind went AWOL. Kimberly Fine says they connected because mom had OP isolated and she literally set the stage for a positive outcome that disappeared the moment that the control disappeared. Yeah, the mom is like, if I don't have it my way, it's the highway. And that is basically what happened here. Avery from the Swamp says, I almost stood in the walk-in cooler at work today because I was so tired. Yeah, we just did have you used the ice bath yet?
Heck no.
I have not had the chance yet. I wanted to this morning, but I was running late.
I'm not going to ever use it. I don't like cold.
Yeah?
I like the steamer.
Steamer's cool.
Or the sauna.
See, here's my thing. So you get into the cold water, but then your body adjusts and it numbs in a warming type way.
My body should never numb. It should not do that.
But one could argue your body shouldn't sweat profusely.
I'd rather sweat profusely than freeze myself.
And you know, everyone has their preference. Their cup of tea. Amy, thanks for the $5 tip. When you do make it to 40, you won't care anymore. People in their 20s have more of a complex about age than people in their 40s.
John doesn't care.
I think so, but then also at the same time, I hear people like in their 40s being like, like I'm really old, and you're I don't know. I still see it for sure, but I also think that generally yes, like that, like as people age, like there's it's much less of a thing Maybe until you're like freaking, like a real dinosaur.
Gotcha.
A real, like, it's close to death's door, basically.
Death's door.
How old do you want to live to, Riley? Talk to me.
I don't know, probably like 87.
87?
90.
That's a very specific number.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I think same. It could be cool to...
That's a very specific number.
Didn't say a specific number. I think it could be cool to possibly do like a cool like 150.
I would. There's no way.
I think I might. The thing that Sam's doing, the gene therapy, I think I would do that in like 20 or 30 years. Maybe after like 20 or 30 years of like, I want to see some people who are like 70 now, like make it to like, what would that be? 100, 110. And then people who are like, 20, 30, 40 now, how that like affects them later. But I'd definitely be open to it.
Nope.
Kind of
not
curious.
at all.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on this earth after 100. My time has expired.
Yeah. You're like 100 is done.
I don't even know what this place is going to be like by then.
Exactly.
Just the AI and people and relationships. People are going to get married to robots.
That's true. It's coming. Are you ready for it?
No.
What are you voting for?
I don't want to talk my kid out of like marrying a robot.
Dude.
Think about that.
Yeah. So it's like, my kid fell in love with the Tesla. Tesla was talking to him. It's just her. It's just her. Like it's the movie Her type situation.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Miss Jaybird said my dad is 70 and I watched him jump and climb a fence to talk to a neighbor. Dude, shout out to your freaking dad.
W dad?
That's big W dad vibes. But I feel like low key, like 60s right now, I feel like people are youthful. Anyone can get themselves in a good youthful state, but I feel like 60s right now is like look pretty young. You have the technology. How's the head?
Good.
Nice. Did you do the full 30 seconds?
I did.
Just a quick
30 seconds.
Nice.
30 seconds.
Wow. Nicely done, dude. All right, now that Sam is crazed like a rabid animal, I'm gonna leave you guys for a second.
Dude, better than coffee, honestly.
Yeah.
Just dunking your head in the ice bath.
I'll do the same.
It's at like 43 right now. It was at 40 this morning.
Wow,
But I did this morning.
I think 50. That's close to. I think right now, as I currently stand and breathe, 50 for me is probably like the perfect temperature. But I'm sure I can get.
Oh, dude, you could get with
a 43.
Dude, jump in.
I'm going to at least
like no full body 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josephine Burquest, thanks for the 27 SEK. Am I the a-hole for not letting my son marry a Tesla? We were talking about living to 150 via gene therapy, and then.
Oh, did you tell them that about the Bahamas thing?
I was alluding to it, but maybe you could tell the people.
So
get out of here, John.
One of my friends I've known him for like 5 years. I interviewed him on my other podcast called Finding Founders. It's the OG one. And basically, he's trying to make people immortal, and he's doing an experimental gene therapy, injecting people and doing human trials off the coast of Honduras in this place called Prospera. And he was opening up another clinic in the Bahamas, so I'm going to go and maybe get injected over there.
Wow.
And apparently it slows your rate of aging by a lot. Jellybeth says, okay, I have seen that interview. Yeah, have you seen that one? No way. Is Sophia coming up?
I don't know. Do I need to ask her?
I mean, maybe, yeah.
I'll go ask her.
Why not? There's a little Trini Weeb says there's an anime called My Wife Has No Emotion about a man who married a cooking robot. That's interesting. What are they injecting? It's called a follistatin gene therapy. Basically, it's like... Radish says Sam is really bothered by that balding thing. My mom doesn't believe it because none of my like uncles or aunts or grandparents have gone bald. But yeah, it's a follistatin gene therapy. I mean, I think it's higher cholesterol potentially, but not really by much. Sounds good. Sophia is coming shortly. Oh, there she is. Come sit down, Sophia. Come over here. Come. Oh, I think you're sitting down. You're sitting down on here. No, why not?
Because Riley's not here.
Well, Riley will be here shortly. I guess you could stay there until Riley's here.
Okay.
So wait, Sophia, on the text, how am I doing? Give me an indicator.
I don't know. It just depends on whether or not she texts back.
Yeah, we'll see.
You got this. Woo!
Should I read this next one?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's get into this. Last story of the episode. So John is 201. The side effects are there's not really any major side effects, but it also like
What?
It like increases muscle mass.
What? What are the side effects to what?
The follistatin gene therapy. The Lakes Pilly, do you think if they're messing with DNA that want to fix cancer, not like make people immortal, like you let me be a model and have cancer until I'm 150? Come over here. No, wait, do you have stuff to do? Okay. Yeah, I guess Riley and I will knock it out. Yeah. No. Go do your thing. You're crushing it. You're crushing it.
Did you just kiss it? The microphone?
I did kiss the microphone. BDSM? What?
Yes.
All the right news in all the right places. All right, we ready?
Yes.
All right.
Are you ready?
I just found out who my biological father is after 30 years. I want to meet him, but my mom keeps getting in the way.
Out the way.
Get out of the way. So I'm 34. Until last year, I thought my father was one person. I've been no contact with him for 6 years for various reasons that are mostly irrelevant. I'll skip over that. But a few weeks ago, in passing, I mentioned that I wanted to do 23andMe to my mother. At that point, I just wanted to see the breakdown of where my ancestors lived, know if it was related to anyone famous, that sort of thing. She got immediately defensive and said, "Why would you want to do that? You know where you came from." Also, this comes from DBaser1990 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So after that moment, I was suspicious. I'd heard the story of how my mom was dating my non-biological dad, then broke up with him and went back to her first husband, my biological dad, then showed up on my non-biological dad's doorstep telling him she was pregnant with his child. Apparently, no one ever questioned that, and he just accepted it. So, over the years, I've had many issues with my mom. I've heard early memories of her stopping by another man's house to cheat on my non-biological dad when they were married while I played with his daughter. Sometimes she wasn't there and I'd be told to watch a movie in her room.
No.
Not the movie in her room.
That is traumatizing.
I mean, I guess you wouldn't know at the time.
Yeah. I wonder how OP's relationship and that daughter's relationship is too. Like, they trauma bonded.
Also, TLDR.
Oh, yes. Do you think they trauma bonded over that?
I think they're too young to even know what's going on.
Yeah.
But at 9 years old, she tried to have me institutionalized while my non-biological dad was at work because she was tired of raising an autistic son. My non-biological dad and his mother are the only reason I wasn't institutionalized. She had lied and said I assaulted my grandmother and aunt. I was pumped full of rugs, and I believe that permanently altered my brain chemistry. When that didn't work, she divorced my non-biological dad and quickly remarried to a truck driver and was gone 26 days of every month until I was almost an adult. 26 days. Terrible mother. My non-biological dad remarried, and my stepmother hated me from the start, so I couldn't live with them. I ended up living with my non-biological mother's basement and being homeschooled, quote unquote. They didn't actually do anything, so I have a 5th grade education on paper. Oh, jeez.
Golly. So she's freaky and a bad mother.
Yeah. Crazy combo. My non-biological dad's mom eventually cracked under the pressure of raising a teenager and being so sick and checked herself into a mental facility, then took off with my aunt. At that point, I was 15.
Oh my gosh.
OP has had a life.
You deserve a royal flush soon.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to say NBD from now on for non-biological dad. From that point on, I bounced back and forth between NBD and my mother, not getting along with either of their spouses. Eventually, at 17, my older friend got a job and rented me a room in his house for $150 a month. Not a bad deal. At 21, I left that family behind, moved out of state, met my partner. We're still together. We're both neurodivergent, so we understand each other on a deeper level than anyone I'm related to. Over the last 2 years, I've watched my mom's side of the family fall apart. I've always adored my aunt and uncle, which my mother has been jealous of my whole life. They're just great people who know how to have a good time. My maternal grandparents both passed away in the last few years, and it became all-out war. My mother has attorneys on retainer waiting for her moment to attack. She did everything in her power to screw her brother and sister in court, and when she couldn't get her way through court, she's now trying to get my aunt kicked out of her house by calling her landlord with blackmail.
Oh
Oh my gosh, that mom just gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
Jellyba says the hits keep coming. Dang straight they do.
She keeps swinging too.
Since then, my mother's been trying to appear to be the good guy. She's offered to help me with debt and pay for a trip to meet my biological dad, which I thought was just her trying to be nice after being so horrible. She initially told me I'd get half of whatever she got from the sale of my grandparents' house. Then she wanted to buy me a car, which I declined because I like my car. She just doesn't think I should drive a subcompact. We started to plan the trip. She's upset that I want my partner there. She's telling me how I need to act around them, how to dress, wants me to shave my beard. I love my beard, and so does my partner. She's treating me like I'm 7. She's going to go down there and parade around like she's been there for me through thick and thin. She's lied to my biological dad about my financial success. She's a very fake person who is all about appearances, and she's going to try to push me to act fake. Yeah, and also John is 201 says, don't take anything from the mom. Like, I mean, I don't know if you know what she's going to use that for. She could use that as leverage to get you to do things. Like,
yeah.
I don't think it's a good idea.
What exactly is she trying to get out of this relationship now?
I'm confused. So it's like, it seems like the cat's out of the bag. OP knows that the non-biological dad is non-biological, and is I guess the mom is trying to help OP see the biological dad, but I feel like there's something that's going to be on the back end that's going to be a little bit bad.
Yeah, I feel like a credit cards or something are going to come up or such. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, there's something spooky going on here. So another thing is she's made a huge deal of him being an alcoholic and told me that he's been sober for years and continues to make a big deal out of that. Meanwhile, every time I talk to him, he's telling me about his favorite tequilas and beers, and even asks me about prices on certain liquors he has to order because they aren't available in his town. So like the mom's lying about everything. My aunt and uncle say that he liked to drink but never seemed out of control. My theory on this is my mom used alcoholism as an excuse to leave him, played up his drinking to my grandparents so they would approve of her divorce. They were old-fashioned, didn't believe in divorce without good reason. That checks because she's the kind of person that needs to create an excuse for anything and will go above and beyond to maintain a lie until the point she's grasping at straws. I told her that I wanted to meet him alone the first time, and she scoffed at me, saying that she really wants to be there. I don't get why she would even want to be there. It's like, hey, here's the son I lied about for 34 years. Sorry you guys missed out on all those years with him.
I think she wants to be there so she can put her narrative on the situation.
Yeah, it seems,
and be able to control it.
She just wants the clout. She just wants the clout. I feel a sense of urgency when it comes to meeting that side of my family. My grandmother on that side is still alive at 97 years old. I want to meet her. She should get to meet her grandson. I just don't know what to do here. If I had the money, I'd just tell my mom to not worry about it, because like basically the mom is the only way that she's going to be able to see the biological father. I got only one thing from my grandparents when they passed, and that's a German rifle pre-World War II. My grandfather always insisted it was very valuable and willed it to me. My mother tried to hide that will, and when my uncle showed it to me, she insisted it wasn't valid, then tried to tell me I couldn't have guns because I'm autistic. I went no contact with her until I had it in my possession. I don't necessarily want to sell it. It probably wouldn't even be easy to find a buyer, but I'm tempted to pawn it and tell my mom I'll float my own trip and not to worry about it. My family will be very upset, but I don't see another way, and as long as I pay the pawn bill, I'll get it back eventually. So how should I handle this? There's a part of me that just wants to man up and tell her and have her day of lives with them and eventually set the record straight over time. Another part of my worries is that she's just going to ruin the whole thing, but don't ruin our thing by just joining her live every weekday 3 p.m. PST. Just tap her profile. I want my partner there for this. We've been together for 13 years. I spent more time with her than anyone I'm related to. She's always been there for me. She's my better half, and that's who I want them to meet and associate with me, not my crazy mother. Yeah, you want to make a good impression on your biological family that you're meeting for the first time. But if I don't accept my mother's offer, I may not make it down in time to meet my grandmother. She had a health scare recently, and that has relit the fire under my bum to make it happen.
So you can't meet the dad without having the mom and you don't want the mom there, how do you get in contact with the dad?
So my maternal grandparents both passed away. My mother had attorneys on retainer waiting for that moment. She basically got everything, took it from her brother and sister. She's been trying to be nice, basically by offering to pay the debt and pay for a trip to meet the biological dad. And she also said she'd give like half of whatever she got with the grandparents' sale of the house. So it seems like she's trying to help as much as she can in meeting the biological dad and the paternal grandparents. And also it seems like she's trying to make up for all of the shitty things she's done.
Yeah.
I mean, should we let her, or is it just like,
is it too late?
Is it too late? Also, is it real? Like, I'm worried that the mom is going to use all of this stuff as leverage. Broello 2010 says loan, like a short-term one. Don't tell the mom anything. Maybe the dad can help. Can the bio dad help? Can OP pawn something else? I mean, the pawn shop stuff, I feel like those are pretty messed up systems. I don't know if you'll be able to get it back. Chris Tinfoil Hat says she's a liar, the mom, so can you even trust anything she says? I think I would put distance between the mom. Definitely don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to be depending on her for travel.
Yeah.
Maybe reach out to the biological dad and see if there's any help that he can have in you going out there. I understand wanting to pawn something off, but I wouldn't expect you to get back the thing you pawn off. But because the whole thing with pawn shops is they get your when people don't pay, you know?
Do you think that the aunt or uncle could help out in some way?
Maybe. I would ask everyone other than the mom.
Yeah.
Jonica says, I wouldn't trust her with something so important. She has to work up to it. Yeah, exactly. It's gone from 0 to 100 way too quick. Way too quick. Irish Gig says the biodad has probably been paying her money for the son. Oh, probably, potentially. Although I think
how old's the son now?
What, maybe.
Is he 18 yet?
Well, you mean OP?
Yeah, OP.
Yeah, OP's older.
Okay.
OP's like 30.
Oh, he's in his 30s. Okay.
34. Yeah. The biological dad. Well, I don't know if the biological dad was paying because OP just found out that their non-biological dad is not their biological dad. So the non-biological dad was probably paying. The biological dad was not, I don't think. And OP just figured this out. So I don't think the biological dad was actually paying anything.
Ooh.
My understanding. But let me know if you think. Kimberly Fine says the very best possible outcome of accepting her funding the trip is that it goes decent, but she holds it over your head for eternity. Yeah, I would talk to the biological dad because the biological dad probably wants to meet you too and might be a better solution than leaning on your mom. But that's where that story ends and where this episode ends.
Yeah.
So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.